Grace and peace to you, and welcome to this third study of the faith of Dostoyevsky. Here's what we've found so far, very briefly. At age 45, he's had a dozen novels published, some brilliant, some promising, and one a profound, groundbreaking expose of the human crawl space. As a Christian, on the one hand, he constantly struggled with the problem of theodicy, which had confounded the faithful for centuries. Namely, how can we justify our belief in our all-powerful, all-good, all-knowing God, who yet lets his believers suffer so? On the other hand, Dostoyevsky was devoted to Jesus, believing passionately that, quote, there is nothing braver, more beautiful, more profound, more compassionate, wiser, or more perfect than Christ. In his daily journalism job, he was shallow, bigoted, anti-Semitic, anti-Catholic, anti-everything that wasn't pro-Russian. And his novel, The Double, written years before Stevenson's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, may well have been a confession of his schizophrenia. And now he became enslaved, his metaphor, by the idea of a big work he'll call Crime and Punishment. He'd burned an earlier version, and while writing a new one, complained he was, again, quote, harassed by creditors, ill, terribly troubled by epilepsy. For weeks I've been suffering agonies with hemorrhoids. I don't know where it'll end, unless in the debtor's prison. So, given the foregoing, were someone to ask, what's the book about? One might feel sheepish, answering, a young chap murders two old ladies. Well, there is more of a plot than that, but one might claim that the book has less to do with external events and more to do with explorations in the heart, in the psyche. It opens on a hot St. Petersburg evening. Raskolnikov, an intelligent, poor young man, slips down the stairs from his poky garret that's like a cupboard and steals past his landlady's kitchen. He's sick with worry at owing her so much. For 2 days, he's hardly tasted food. He's going now to an old pawnbroker woman to hand over his watch, and suddenly realizes he's already considered murdering her. He's an underground man, except as he plans ahead, he won't just snarl at his centerless life. He'll improve it by stealing his murder victim's jewelry. Of course, he has to rationalize why, such as that her life's almost over anyway, and his one tiny crime will be wiped out by the thousands of good deeds he'll do with the proceeds. After all, the Napoleons of the world, like him, may kill in order to achieve the greater good. The trouble is, he's no Napoleon and is very confused about all this. To think it through, he goes to his local pub and finds himself next to a useless, cowardly old sot named Marmeladov, who has taken his starving family's last kopeck to buy booze. Marmeladov's wife, Katerina, is at home, coughing up her tubercular lungs. His children are hungry and terrified. His teenage daughter, Sonia, is just realizing she's got to prostitute her charms to save her family, a family which, spiraling down, will become for the reader excruciating embodiments of poverty's pain as Sonia heads for the street. And then there's Svidrigailov. He's the embodiment of evil and is about to do God knows what. He's already killed his wife, raped a child, and set his sights now on Sonia. So unlike anything Dostoyevsky has written before, Crime and Punishment has three convincing human distortions. A would-be Napoleon plotting a crime, the tortured Marmeladov family, whose members are each heading inexorably for their particular doom, and that abomination, Svidrigailov, about to do God knows what. And interwoven with all three is what in Dostoevsky's life had long pained him, the theodicy problem. How can God be all-loving and all-powerful yet allow such hurt? To which Dostoevsky now brings three answers. First is compensatory immortality. Dostoevsky's precious hope is that the hurts of suffering people in this life will be rewarded in the next. Sadly, he puts his answer in the mouth of the hopeless old derelict Marmeladov in the pub, who has been mumbling it drunkenly into Raskolnikov's ear, but now decides to tell the whole bar in a loud, befuddled voice. Forgive me if I read it in a Cockney accent, but that's how I hear it. We judge and forgive all, the good and the evil, the wise and the meek, and when he's done with all of them, he will summon us drunks. You too will come forth, he will say. Come forth, ye drunks, come forth, ye children of shame, and we shall all come without shame, and shall stand before him, and he will hold out his hands to us, and we shall weep, and we shall understand all things. My Katerina, even, she will understand. But the boozers return to their beer. They're not convinced. Nor is Svidrigailov. He disposes of heaven in words hard to forget. He wonders whether instead of eternity being vast, as is traditionally imagined, it's just one little room, like an outhouse in the country, black, grimy, spiders in every corner, and that's all eternity is. Is this what Dostoevsky believed, or is this an artist creating his masterpiece? For next, Raskolnikov commits his murders. The writing is so fine, even we who are used to reading about murders feel these in our stomachs, and we sense that these acts of evil will wreck many lives, starting with Raskolnikov's, for he really is no Napoleon. This he discovers right away when he finds himself going to the police station to start preventative lying, and he faints there. And at the police station, we and Raskolnikov meet Porfiry, the investigator. What a stroke of creativity he is. Dostoevsky here originates that whole line of detectives who use psychology, read body language, understand motives. Sherlock Holmes, Miss Marples, Columbo. Porfiry begins to elicit Raskolnikov's guilt by telling him about Raskolnikov. He'll lie cleverly. You'd think he'd enjoy the fruit of his deeds, but at an interesting moment, he'll faint. He doesn't reckon on his temperament. That's what betrays him. And Raskolnikov's temperament aches to betray him. It's Porphyry who reminds Raskolnikov of a second value that suffering brings the sufferer. Besides compensatory immortality, he says, suffering is a great thing. Don't laugh at it. There's value in suffering. And Raskolnikov, who has a background in scripture, knows what it tells us, that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. That's Romans 50. Sonia, too, she now loves Raskolnikov, and he her. She says, God sends much unhappiness, and she should know. To him he loves much, and in whom he has much hope, because the quality of people is more obvious in their unhappiness. Raskolnikov is surely more likely to be convinced by these witnesses than by others that suffering produces character. But are we convinced? The third blessing which suffering can bring in the conviction of Raskolnikov is the near, dear presence of Christ. Certainly, it would be so in the convictions and experiences of Dostoyevsky. You'll recall that his life in the Siberian cells with only hard men for company was made bearable by the presence, by the love, of Christ. Raskolnikov would be the first to repeat again with gratitude his loving affirmation first made in Siberia, that there is nothing braver, more beautiful, profounder, more compassionate, wiser, or more perfect than Christ. But the question the reader must now hold up in Crime and Punishment is in the character, the actions, the life of Raskolnikov. Does Christ deserve such a crucial place? The plot has him sent to Siberia for his punishment, and Sonia follows him, determined to devote whatever years he is in prison there to giving herself to visiting him, bringing him whatever small comforts are allowed and she can earn, encouraging him and loving him. She is indeed, in her way, a kind of Christ figure, filled with compassion for him. Some say this is the weakest part of the book. It may be, but that's partly in the eye, in the heart of the reader. So listen to the end. Sonia had been greatly agitated that day, and at night was taken ill again. But she was so happy, only 7 years. He didn't know that the new life would not be given him for nothing, that he would have to pay dearly for it, that it would cost him great striving, great suffering. But that's the beginning of a new story, the story of the renewal of a man, the story of his gradual rebirth, of his initiation into a new life.